Welcome. We'll call the meeting to order. I would like to begin by acknowledging that we are on Treaty 1 territory and the traditional homeland of the Métis Nation. I'll introduce the panel members. I'm Marcel Larondo. I'll be chairing. Laurie Davidson. To the far left, Linda McFadden to my left. And the assessor today is Ryan Valderrama, and our administrative assistant today is Katie Sutherland. We'll be hearing applications for revision of assessment roll in accordance with the Municipal Act. The matters for which revision is requested have been described in each application, and we'll limit discussions to those matters. The statements that applicants or the assessor make at this hearing are sworn testimony, and anyone speaking to the matter must be sworn in. Be advised that comparisons of assessment of properties are not considered evidence of market value by the Board of Revision. The Board of Revision is appointed annually by Council and is independent of it and the City Administration. It makes its decisions on the basis of the evidence provided at this hearing and issues a written order that will be mailed to all parties as soon as possible. Please note that the Board's decision with respect to an application may be appealed to the Manitoba Municipal Board if the matter pertains to assessed value or classification, or the Court of Queen's Bench if the matter pertains to an application of exemption from taxation. Should you wish to appeal, the information on how to do so will be included with the Board order. With respect to the hearing process, I will confirm the matters to be addressed with each applicant following the swearing in. We will then have the assessor's testimony followed by questions that the applicant may have, and then the applicant's testimony followed by questions. Each side will have an opportunity to summarize if they wish. Once all the evidence about an application has been brought forward, the applicant may leave. The process will repeat for each item on the docket today. The session will close after the applications have been heard, and the Board will deliberate in private and make its decisions. You will receive the order by registered mail as soon as possible. As information, all public hearings are recorded and will be part of the public record. Please have your cell phones on silent. You can swear them in when you're ready, Kate. Red is dead. Red is dead.
Say your name.
Ryan Valderrama.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and the truth about it? Do you swear, please say your name.
Marcel Navarro.
Do you swear that the evidence you're about to present is the truth, the whole truth, and the truth about God? Thank you.
First property on our agenda, well, the Qualico one is being withdrawn.
Yeah, I'm
Is that
just,
correct?
yes.
Okay, you're going to get them to sign that?
Yep.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Boy, did that take long.
There you
Okay, so
go.
we'll move to the next property. And the next property will be 291 Stradbrook Avenue. And it's amount of assessed value. And Ryan, when you are ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First property in the docket is a file number of 19-4223. It has a roll number of 12031804000. It is located at 291 Stradbrook Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020, using reference date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $906,000. It has one building. The property is a residential apartment with one building, 2 stories, actual and effective year built of 1961, 10 suites with 10 outdoor parking stalls. It has a land area of 7,370 square feet, a planned area of 2,686 square feet, a gross floor area of 8,058 square feet. On page 3 are a couple of aerial photos of the subject property. And on page 4 is the income valuation summary. Again, there are 10 units with an average monthly rent per unit of $772.89, which is model derived rent. A vacancy rate of 1.8%, an expense ratio of 49.29%, giving it a net operating income of $46,186. Using the capitalization rate of 5.1%, the capitalized income is $905,608. On page 5 are some rent comparables. They are all ranging from $774 up to $1,008 average monthly rent per unit. And right below it is the map of the subject property and the comparable rents. On pages 6 and 7 are some capitalization rates charts. The first chart on page 6 shows all of the observed capitalization rates. For the multifamily, they're all ranging from 4% up to 7.3%. And if I may just read through, a direct capitalization method is used to convert the property's single year income into an indication of value by dividing the estimated net operating income by an appropriate capitalization rate. Capitalization rates can be derived from properties that are sold by dividing each property's net operating income by its sale. For the 2020 general reassessment, or within April 1st, 2018 reference date, capitalization rates were derived from model-generated estimates of net operating income and sale prices that were time-adjusted to April 1st, 2018. The ratio statistics for the assessment and taxation department's income-producing models satisfy the standards specified and set forth in the Standard on Ratio Studies published by the International Association of Assessing Officers, or IAAO. These capitalization rates were further supported by a review of industry standard market reports, external property appraisals. Capitalization rate reports for the first quarter of 2018 from Collier, CBRE, and Cushman Wakefield were also reviewed. The City of Winnipeg Assessment and Taxation Department does have a wide range of capitalization rates, as all parcels in the city have to be accounted for. Variables such as size, age, and location will influence the capitalization rate applied in the calculation of value. As I've mentioned earlier, the following chart compares the published rates to the City of Winnipeg capitalization rates for the property types that are reported. The 20th and 80th percentiles are also shown for the City of Winnipeg data, indicating a narrow range of capitalization rates used for 60% of the parcels within that specific property type. In many cases, the published rates fall within the 20th and 80th percentiles, indicating the tenability of the City of Winnipeg's derived capitalization rates. On page 7 are some sales that have occurred. In the third area is where the multifamily sales are. And if I may read quickly the short blurb that we have. The following is a sample of actual sales that took place during the reference period. The purpose for showing these individual capitalization rates is to illustrate the accuracy of the model and substantiate the model-derived capitalization rates. They are not meant to be comparables specific to the subject property. Net operating income has been developed through stabilizing owner-reported income and expense information. Capitalization rates have been derived by dividing the property's net operating income by its sale price. If I may go through the 5 sales under the multifamily section. First one is located at 191 Roach Street. Has a sale date of February 2018. Was sold for $3,610,000. There are 36 suites, and it has an effective year built of 1971. It accounts for $100,278 per suite, with a calculated cap rate of 4.84%. The second one is located at 394 Talbot Avenue. It was sold back in December 2017 for $770,000. It has 11 suites and an effective year built of 1965, giving it a calculated sale per suite of $70,000 with a calculated cap rate of 4.03%. The third one is located at 285 Maxwell Place with a sale date of June 2017. It was sold for $2,225,000. It has 23 suites with an effective year built of 1960. The sale price per suite comes to $96,739, and the calculated cap rate is 4.4%. The fourth one is located at 277 Langside Street. was sold in January 2018 for $3 million. It has 47 suites with an effective year built of 1974. The calculated sale price per suite is $70,000 and the calculated cap rate is 6.09%. And last one is located at 333 Ward Avenue. It has a sale date of January 2016, which was sold for $18 million with 103 suites. It has an effective year built of 2006 and the sale price per suite of $174,757. The calculated cap rate on that one is 5%. And on page 9, to the last page, is where the 2017 income and expense information for the subject property. That's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Marcello, any questions?
Yes. In terms of your capitalization rates that you discussed on page 7, do you have any supplementary information, any workup on these?
No.
No? And as you mentioned, these are just for demonstration's sake. They're not really a comparison for the subject, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now, in terms of your income calculation on page 4, does the model account for parking and laundry in its calculation of monthly income?
Correct. It's gross rent.
Now, we're talking the effective gross, right? Not the gross potential.
We have it as gross potential rent. It's calculating the gross potential rent.
Okay, but what I'm asking is in the effective gross, does it account for parking, laundry, those other incidentals?
Effective gross. I believe it's calculating those ones as well, because it's included in the gross potential rent.
Those are my questions.
Thank you.
Linda?
I don't have any further questions.
Lori?
Just to clarify or confirm, your workup is all model-based, no adjustments have been made?
No adjustments have been made, and these are all model-derived parameters.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
That's everything, thanks.
Ryan, were you involved on the workups on page 7 for these addresses?
Yes, I was involved in trying to choose and trying to come up with a workup.
So you did the workups on these actual properties, Roach, Calvert?
Not exactly me. There's a group of us, and then we were all another section. We did find all of these.
So you used the
Not
sale.
exactly me, myself, just myself.
You used the sale.
Correct.
And what else did you use to get to that number of 4.84?
For the first one, the road
Yeah.
one? Okay. It's the income and expense that were submitted to us.
Yeah.
I believe it is, I think we used 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, at least 3 years to stabilize them.
Did you make any changes to those income and expenses forms when you were doing it?
We did not. We just looked at the straight up income and expense that were submitted to our department.
Did you stabilize them?
Averaged them.
You averaged them?
Stabilized.
You never stabilized any of the numbers?
I'm not sure if changing them would count stabilization, but as far as I know, our process was to average them out. That's as far as I know.
So how many of these properties were bought to be remodeled?
Well, as the hearing goes, they all said, or it was argued previously that there were 3 that were that have intention to renovate or improve, or whatever the terminology may be. However, as per IAAO standards, we are also allowed to use all of these, even though they were renovated after the fact or after the sale.
But if you're trying to show the accuracy of your model that you've created, would you not try to find some that didn't fall under that category that these did?
Well, during the time that we chose this, I'm not sure. The intent may be there, however, after the fact, were they actually renovated or not, and whatever the income was produced after the fact of renovation wasn't used to determine the cap rate on this one. So basically what happened, or what were used, were the income and expense prior to the sale and up to the sale date.
To the sale.
Yes.
I've got no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
On with the presentation.
This is 291 Stradbroke Avenue, phone number 12031-844-000, or 3000. On page 2, you can see a picture of it from the front, and then an overhead shot on page 3. In this improvement, was built in 1961, with a total count of 10 units, 8 one-bedroom units and 2 two-bedroom units. The gross floor area is approximately 8,058 square feet, and it has recorded number of 10 outdoor parking stalls. The site area is 7,351 square feet and is zoned RMFN, residential multifamily need. On page 4, you can see that we use site-specific characteristics in our evaluation process. And then if you turn to page 7, you can see the workup. Again, we are taking 3 years of the property's own stable of the property's income expenses, and we're averaging them out and stabilizing them. So the gross potential of the property is $92,330. We have an effective gross of $89,560. We've applied a 3% vacancy to that, to the gross potential. On top of the effective gross rent, we've added $569 in laundry income and $2,072 in parking income, giving us an effective gross income of $92,201. In terms of expenses, we have stabilized expenses of $51,550, or a 55.9% expense ratio. That gives us a net operating income of $40,651. To that, we've applied a 5.75 capitalization rate. If you turn to our chart,
Which page is it on?
that would be chart number, page 1, our cap study.
Oh, your cap study?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we've done a slightly lower capitalization rate here for this subject property based on its age. Typically, for this type of property from 1960 to 1974, Altus Group would be using a capitalization rate of 6%. We used a 5.75 in this case. Our indicated value is $706,981, or $737,000. If you turn to the appendix, we've also included all 3 years of the income expenses submitted by the owner for the 3 years that we've looked at. And I am again recommending a value of $707,000. I'm open to questions.
Ryan, questions?
Mr. Chair, on just the cap rate study, I noticed that when I was going through the RMMs of the properties that were used to derive the cap rates, the highest, is this correct? The highest was, just wanted to clarify, the highest RMM per suite is 1,072, which is 333 Ward.
Which page is that on?
On the cap rate study, Mr. Chair, if we go through the expense, income and expense chart for 333 North, just wanted to clarify if that's the highest RMM per suite among all those that are in here in the cap rate study, 1,072. And all the rest are lower than $1,000 or 1,072 per suite. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay, and the subject property 291 Stradbrook has 1,500 per suite, if I'm not mistaken, 1,553 per suite for repairs and maintenance on page 7 of the brief. So basically we are using the cap rates for the sales that have lower R&M compared to the subject property. Would that be safe?
The capitalization rates in the chart are used to establish, again, ranges for capitalization rates for properties that have sold. The subject property has a higher R&M, has a higher maintenance R&M per suite. Again, that is specific to that property.
That's all the questions I have, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Lori?
What rent did you use in your workup? Like the monthly rent, I mean? The city used 772. I'm just missing it.
About $923.
Yeah. You looking at 2017? You were looking at 2017?
No, because we take his 9230, which is stabilized.
Just divide by 10.
He took the he used it 17. Divided by
769. About 769.
Where do you get 769?
So we're taking.
Is there 10 units in there?
Yep. So we're taking the potential, which is 92,330.
Yeah.
We're dividing that by 12 months, and then dividing it by 10 suites.
Right.
769. Yeah.
Correct. That was all my questions. Thanks.
I have no further questions.
So when you were driving, doing your study for the cap rates, you've broken these down by years. So each one of these categories has a number of workups in here to give you those numbers? Which ones would have given me the numbers for the 1980 to 1997?
within that list, we have nothing for 1980, 1987.
1997.
97.
What year was this one?
61.
61.
Yeah.
61 to 79. Okay, 60 to 79 then. Which ones? were
Well, we
you
have a
saying?
1952, a 1966, a 1968 here.
Yeah.
Even a 1972.
So which one was a 62?
Look at the next page.
And 1952 is actually covered.
Pages.
So, 403 St. Anne's, 155, I don't even know how to pronounce that, Mighton, and 512 Balmoral.
Okay, so with those three, you're looking from 594 to 675, and yet you're coming up with a 5.75. Why did you lower it? Was it because of the condition of the building?
As far as I'm looking at this, this should have actually had a 6.6 capitalization rate on it.
But you must have manually chosen 5.75.
Yes.
I'm just looking for the reason for why you chose the 5.75.
Most likely it's something that I probably just overlooked. 6% is typically what we go with. 5.75 is, there's no reason for adjusting this property. I drove by it, there's nothing, doesn't appear like anything has been done to it. So it's period 1961. Obviously there have been improvements done to it, to the individual units that upgrade certain things, but yeah, as far as I'm concerned, it should have a 6.0 capitalization rate.
Okay, no further questions. And that concludes that matter. You want anything in summation? No? Nothing? Nothing? Thank you. Item number 3 will be 253 River. Those are all question out of the way. Go ahead. When you are ready. Ryan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
253.
The next one has a file number of 19-2732. It has a roll number of 120-323-85100. It is located at 253 River Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year 2020, using reference date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $855,000. The property is a residential apartment with 1 building, 2 stories, an actual and effective year built of 1954. There are 11 suites with 8 outdoor parking stalls. It has a land area of 9,518 square feet, land area of 3,377 square feet, and a gross floor area of 1,131 square feet. On page 3, is the income valuation summary for the subject property. Again, there are 11 units with an average monthly rent per unit of $723.98. This is model derived rent. It has a vacancy rate of 1.8%, an expense ratio of 53.48%, giving it a net operating income of $43,596. Using the capitalization rate of 5.1%, the capitalized income is $854,824. I was looking at this brief here, and for some reason the pictures just didn't print. It got dropped for some reason, and I apologize for that, Mr. Chair. Number 4, or page 4, are some rent comparables. They are all ranging from $774 up to $1,008 average monthly rent per unit. Just below it is the map of the subject property and the comparable rents. Pages 5 and 6 are some capitalization rate charts, and beginning page 8 to the last page is where the 2017 income and expense information is, and that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Questions, Marcelo?
Would you consider these small walk-up apartments?
Which one? The comparable?
The subject?
Oh, the subject, yes.
Okay. And it's only has 11 units. And would you think that there's any additional risk to having that low of a unit count? Considering if you have 1 or 2 units vacant, you're already at close to 20% vacancy.
Well, as mentioned earlier, the way the model derived the capitalization rate is by size, age, and location. I do think that the capitalization rate that was modeled in this one, which is 5.1%, has considered all of those risks, which is age, location, and size.
So, with an effective age of 1954, it's taking that into account.
I believe so, yes.
Those are my questions.
Thank you.
Linda?
This I&E here is not, it's for more than just this building, is it?
Just for the next door one. too.
Yes, 253 and 263.
Okay.
Yes, those are for 2.
Out of kilter here. I don't have any additional questions.
Thank you.
Lori?
I just have a question, looking back at the one we just reviewed on Stradbroke versus this one, and this is just running per the model, your workup.
That's correct.
I noticed the expense ratio is, or percent is 53.48 on this one, and it was 49.29 on the other, yet all your other variables are the same, like your cap and your vacancy, etc. So the model is pushing out a different expense of 53.48. What would the reason be? It's an older building slightly.
I'm not sure why it is. Anything that pops up is a 7-year-old difference. That's just, and a bit on the gross floor area. That's all that I can see.
Okay.
With more gross floor area, there's more expenses. And of course, the older it is, there's more expenses as well. That's some of the parameters that I see that affected the difference in expense ratio.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to wait for Marcello's presentation, then I might get into it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
And this is 253 River. As you know, as you've probably seen, the incomes are combined. There are 2 separate roll numbers here, but these 2 units are effectively 1 economic unit. So we've looked at those income and expense statements for the 30 years. We've stabilized the potential gross rent at $180,751. Vacancy has been included in it. Laundry of $1,421, parking of $2,891, miscellaneous income of $66. We have an effective income of $185,128. Gives us a per suite amount of $701.24. The total expenses for both of these buildings is $89,459. Sorry, $95,669. That's a 51.7% expense ratio. The net operating income is $89,459, and we've applied 6.25 capitalization rate to this one. That gives us an indicated value of $1,431,341. We apply, we simply divide the end value by half, and that gives us a value of $715,670 for this building. I am open for questions.
Ryan,
No further questions.
Linda,
I find it quite interesting versus when you consider what the assessor had to say about the model. Your expense rate on this building is actually lower than the last building, whereas his is higher than it was on the last building.
Site specific. So that's
Right.
when I mentioned that we use site specific
Correct.
characteristics.
Right, I just find it kind of interesting.
Yeah,
And no vacancies at all.
included.
Yeah,
So we didn't have to adjust for vacancy.
I understand. Okay, thank you.
basically the cap rates would be almost, sorry, Lori, you're first.
Maybe just a little bit of an explanation. In terms of your gross rents and your rent, like the city's gross rents are at 95 and yours are at almost 181. Is that because you use that 3-year stabilized actuals?
Correct.
That's quite a difference.
Two buildings.
In the end,
Yeah.
in the end, I mean, if we split the net operating income by half, that gives us $44,729.50. So we're not that far apart.
Right.
In the end. The difference, of course, is the capitalization.
Well, you make it difficult when you're doing two buildings.
Yeah.
Because the second building is should have had a higher cap rate, this one lower, so you had, did you take your model and adjust that, or did you leave them both at 6.25?
Both buildings were built at the same point in time,
No, I don't think so.
1954.
I could be wrong. Let me just have a look.
1954.
Hmm?
They were both built in 1954.
411 Stradbrook?
No, 253 and 263.
253 and
63 River. It's further down the file. They should have been together, but yeah, they were.
So the city's got them both at the same amount on both, right?
Yeah,
And you got them both at the same amount on yours.
but the 1954 right
Okay. Where's your cap rate? Let's see it on the chart here. It's, what year did you say, 1954?
54.
So it's 46 to 59, and that's at 6.25, and that's what you use this time. You're within $1,000 on your NOI.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's cap rate's your issue. Okay. I'm good. No other questions on that. That was for 253 River. Right? 411 Stradbrook. When you're ready, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The next property has a file number of 19-4468. It has a roll number of 1203-177-5000. It is located at 411 Stradbrook Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020 using reference date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $777,000. The property is a residential apartment with one building, 3 stories, actual and effective year built of 1909. It has 13 suites, 1 outdoor parking stall. It has a land area of 7,368 square feet, a land area of 4,280 square feet, and a gross floor area of 17,120 square feet. On page 3 are a couple of
aerial photos, subject property. On page 4 is the income valuation summary. Again, there are 17 units with an average monthly rent per unit of $593.13, and this is a model-derived rent. Vacancy rate is at 1.8%, expense ratio of 56.86%, giving a net operating income of $51,259. Using the capitalization rate of 6.6%, the capitalized income is $776,652. On page 5 are some rent comparables. They're all ranging from $750 up to $786 average monthly rent per unit. And just below it is the map of the subject property and the comparable rents. Pages 6 and 7 are the capitalization rate charts. On page 9 up to the last page is where the 2017 income and expense information for the subject property. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Question, Marcello.
I have no questions.
Linda.
I have no questions.
Lori.
One quick question. So the actual year built and the effective year is 1909,
Yes.
and nothing substantive has been done to it to bring up its effective age?
No, none that we're aware of.
All right, thank you. That was it.
Thank you.
Okay, Marcello, on your presentation, please.
We have we can just turn to page 7 on the brief. Again, we have 17 units in total, 1 bachelor, 1 bedroom, 1 bedroom, 13 2-bedrooms, and 2 3-bedrooms for a total count of 17 units. We have a potential gross of $110,590. Vacancy of 1.8% has been applied. That gives us an effective gross of $108,599. We've applied laundry income and even parking income for the 1 parking stall that actually exists on this property. That gives us an effective gross income of $110,063. We've applied expenses of $67,587. That is an expense ratio of 61.4%. And a net operating income of $42,477. We applied a capitalization rate of 6.85 for an end value of $620,098. I am open for questions.
Ryan.
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Lori.
No questions, thank you.
Linda.
I have no question.
Good. Thank you. That concludes that matter. Next one is 390. 390? Stradbrook. When you're ready, right?
Mr. Chair, the next property has a file number of 19-2305. It has a roll number of 1203167800. It is located at 390 Stradbrook Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020 using reference date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $683,000. And I would like to make a recommendation on this one, Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead.
$634,000.
634. 634,000. You okay with that, Marcello?
Yeah.
634. No questions from the panel members?
I just had a quick question. Are you, in terms of coming to that, are you changing particular variables like your cap rate, or is it just an overall, looking at the bottom line market value, like you have a 4.8% cap in here
It's more of, we agreed on the number.
on the bottom line value?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
634. 263 River. This should be quick. Feel like we've already done this one.
We think
When you're ready, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next property has a file number 19-2737. It has a roll number of 1203-2387-100. It is located at 263 River Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020. Using reference date of April 1st, 2018, the assessed value is $855,000. The property is a residential apartment with one building, 2 stories, an actual and effective year built of 1954. There are 11 suites with 8 outdoor parking stalls, a land area of 9,597 square feet, a flat area of 3,377 square feet, and a gross floor area of 10,131 square feet. On page 3 are a couple of pictures, aerial photos of the subject property. On page 4 is the income valuation summary. Again, there are 11 units. The average monthly rent per unit is $722.98 as determined by the model. It has a vacancy rate of 1.8%, an expense ratio of 53.48%, giving it a net operating income of $43,596. Using the capitalization rate of 5.1%, the capitalized income is $854,824. On page 5 are some rent comparables. They're all ranging from $774 up to $1,008 average monthly rent per unit. Right below it is the map of the subject property and comparable rents. Pages 6 and 7 are the capitalization rate charts. And beginning of page 9 to the last page is the 2017 income and expense information. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Questions, Marcel?
I've already asked.
Asked and done.
I'm good.
You're good?
I'm
Lori,
good.
you're
I'm
good?
fine.
I'm good. Let's move on to the next property. 395
Okay.
Woodlaw Avenue. When you are ready, Ryan.
The next property has a file number of 19-3473. And a roll number of 120-211-87100. It is located at 395 Wardlaw Avenue. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020, using reference date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $1,273,000. The property is used as a residential apartment with one building, 2 stories, effective and actual year built of 1967. There are 20 suites with 12 outdoor parking stalls. It has a land area of 12,006 square feet, a planned area of 5,757 square feet, and a gross floor area of 70,271 square feet. On page 3 are a couple of aerial photos for the subject property. On page 4 is the income valuation summary. Again, there are 20 total units with an average monthly rent per unit of $663.39 based on the model. It has a vacancy rate of 1.8%, an expense ratio of 56.86%, giving it a net operating income of $67,449. Using the capitalization rate of 5.3%, the capitalized income is $1,272,623. On page 5 are some rent comparables. They are ranging from $692 up to $1,028 average monthly rent per unit. Right below it is the map of the subject property and comparable rents. Pages 6 and 7 are the capitalization rate charts. And on page 9, beginning of page 9 to the last page, is the 2017 income and expense information for the subject property. That's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Marcello?
I don't have any questions.
Linda?
So if we go back to number 2, which was a 1961 building, your model kicked out at 49% rate, and here it's 56.86. Would the size of the apartment block account for that, or?
The size of the previous one that you mentioned was about 8,058 square feet to be exact. And this one is 17,271 square feet. So this is really bigger than the previous one.
And that would also account for the difference in the cap rate?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you.
Lori?
I have no questions, thank you.
The biggest one on your page 5 would be the number 2, Taylor. Why bring that all the way up in there?
I'm sorry?
Taylor seems to be out of the zone, isn't it?
It is within the market region as per our...
That is the market region, eh?
Yes, it is still within the market region.
And thank you for correcting the map by the time you got here. You took off all the stores and the restaurants. It's easier to find the dots.
Oh, yes. Thank you.
It took you to this one to correct that.
Yes, I noticed that the others have all those maps of
Yes.
different establishments.
It's nice to know where you're going to go have a drink, but...
It makes the apartments more valuable, I would
Well,
say.
definitely it does. You're up next, Marcello.
Okay. On page 7, if you would like to turn to that, I'd like to revise my valuation on this. I've gone and done the same thing that I did on one of the previous appeals. This actually should have had a 6% capitalization rate on it. So I'm revising my value to $956,000.
956,000?
Yes. On this one, we've only managed to stabilize 2 years of income expenses. I don't know why the owner did not submit it for 2016, but I'll go through it now. So we have a potential market gross of 138,361. We've applied a 1.8% vacancy to that. That gives us 135,871. We've applied parking income of $2,982 and miscellaneous income of $437, giving us an effective gross of $139,289. We've applied an expense ratio of 58.8%. That is $81,928, giving us an operating income of $57,364, to which I've applied a 6% cap rate, giving us a value of $956,067, rounded to $956,000. And I won't read questions.
Ryan?
No further questions.
Linda?
I have a question.
Lori?
No questions, thank you.
And I've got no questions. Oh, we're just moving along now. 430, Stradbrook. When you're ready, Ryan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next property of the file is 19-4539. It has a roll number of 12031667000. It is located at 430 Stradbrook Avenue. And a matter of non-cooperation that I would like to request, Mr. Chair.
Okay.
Based on non-submission on page 10 is where the tracking envelope is, page 11 is where the tracking receipt is, and the blank statements on pages 14 to 17, Mr. Chair. And I have also attached on page 9 the notice of assessment that went to the address at 430 Stradbrook Avenue.
Marcello, you going to challenge that, or you got any information that we want to hear?
Actually, I just had one question. Was this actually delivered?
Looks like nobody received it.
Typically, there's a signature on there, right?
Yes. And it was attempted to be delivered, or it was attempted to be delivered, yes, that's correct. And then there's a notice card left on the third or fourth line on June 8, 2018 at 12:34. And then final notice June 13, 2018. And the address that was used was 54 Desjardins Drive, and on the assessment notice, it indicates 54 Desjardins Drive as well.
I'm going to ask that this be confirmed.
Confirmed?
Yeah.
Of that $739,000. And the next item will be 100 Roslyn Road. When you are ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The last property has a file number of 19-2281. It has a roll number of 120-324-70100. It is located at 100 Roslyn Road. We're dealing with the roll year of 2020, which in records date of April 1st, 2018. The assessed value is $1,330,000. The property is a residential apartment with one building, 3 stories, actual and effective year built of 1927. There are 18 suites with 12 outdoor parking. It has a land area of 14,076 square feet, a planned area of 4,343 square feet, a gross floor area of 17,372 square feet. And on page 3 are a couple of aerial photos for the subject property. On page 4 is the income valuation summary. There are 18 units with an average monthly rent per unit of $816.06 as determined by the model. It has a vacancy rate of 1.8%, an expense ratio of 49.29%, giving it a net operating income of 87,777 square feet. Using the capitalization rate of 6.6%, the capitalized income is $1,329,955. On page 5 are some rent comparables. They're all ranging from $809 up to $1,028 average monthly rent per unit. Pages 6 and 7 are the capitalization rate charts. On page 9 to page 11 is where the 2017 income and expense information for the subject property is. And that's my presentation, Mr. Chair.
Questions?
Just on your page 5 in your rent comparables, the only one that is close to our subject is the comparable number 1, correct? In terms of its location, its age. However, I'm noticing that number 1, comparable number 1, has considerably more 2-bedroom units. Wouldn't that actually increase the potential rent for the subject having more 2-bedroom units?
Yes.
And everything else is model driven?
Comparable rents?
No, everything,
Oh,
every other
on page
characteristic
4?
is model driven.
On page 4, yes.
Yes,
everything.
okay.
All parameters.
Okay. Those are my questions.
Thank you.
Lori?
I have no questions, thank you.
Linda?
And I have no question.
No permits pulled on this building?
None that I'm aware of. There could be some minor permits, but it's not enough to change the effective year bill.
Okay, good. Want to?
We'll just ask you to turn to page 7.
Okay.
Again, this building was built in 1927. Does not have 13 stories. I don't know if you can see there, but it actually says it has 13 stories. It only has 3 stories. And again, 15 one-bedroom units and 3 two-bedroom units for a total count of 18 units. The gross potential is 162,053. Again, in this instance, the vacancy hasn't been included there, so we have not adjusted the vacancy outside of the already adjusted for vacancy. An effective gross of 162.53. We've added laundry income and parking income to that, also a small amount of miscellaneous income, giving us an effective gross of 168,370. And we have $87,560 in expenses. That is an expense ratio of 52%. That gives us a net operating income of $80,810. And we've applied the same 6.6% capitalization rate. Gives us an indicated market value of $1,224,397, or $1,224,000 rounded. I am open for questions.
Questions, right?
Questions?
None?
Chair?
Linda?
I have none.
Lori?
None either.
And I have none. You're done. Thank you very much, gentlemen. That concludes the matters for today.